Hi, everyone, and thank you for watching this. This is a recording of the webinar. We had a webinar earlier on. Unfortunately, we failed to record it. So we're going to be making this recording just to highlight some of the things that we did discuss during the webinar. This is one of the Afara Tech Job Preparation webinar series. And in this particular session, I am going to be discussing opportunities in CRM. I'm going to be talking about why you should be interested in CRM in the first place, why it's important for organizations, what kind of opportunities you can expect to have access to, and how you can get prepared to access such opportunities. Just to talk a little bit about myself and just a very, very quick overview of who I am, what I do. My name is Ugo Osuji. Currently, I do work at Hootsuite, but I'd just like to tell you a very, very brief story about myself. I'm a graduate of economics, and when I finished my course in economics, I decided that I wanted to learn a little bit about IT, so I took a course on database management or administration, which was interesting because it was the very first time that I started understanding how data works, how customer data can be stored in a database, how employee data can be stored in a database, and how data, generally speaking, or how we can store the things around us, how we can store them in a database. And that sparked my interest in tech. I eventually started doing some content management system design and consultation for companies who wanted to build websites. I did that for a little bit before joining Oracle as an intern. While at Oracle, someone gave me a really, really valuable advice about why I should focus my time and specialize in something that had to do with customer management and customer relationship systems and things like that. Because the person told me, look, most of your backend systems are already, taking care of supply chain, ERP. And they said, well, this whole stuff is already been taken care of. People have invested a lot of time. It's become quite sophisticated these days. And the person said, but the one thing companies are still worried about, the one thing companies have still been yet to figure out is really their customer relationship and how to manage that. So whether it is sales, marketing, customer care, organizations are still figuring out the best ways to wow their customers. So I took that advice and started specializing in CRM systems. So I started consulting as a CRM consultant at Oracle in Nigeria, working with the major organizations in Nigeria to help them with their CRM systems and how they could manage their customer information, customer transactions, and things like that. While doing that, I was fortunate to get an opportunity to work on the regional team, Europe, Middle East, and Africa, supporting organizations that were outside of Nigeria at the time, helping them with the same thing, designing solutions, designing CRM applications that could solve different problems for different customers. I moved to Canada in 2015. And I joined the North American team of Oracle, helping customers in North America with CRM design, with designing of how systems, other systems apart from CRM could interact actually with Oracle CRM systems. But when I got there, I also had a passion to do a lot of implementation work. So I decided to leave the comfort of Oracle and join a partner firm that did implementation work, Eclipses, where I led the implementation team. And my job was to build up the practice and help them implement Oracle CRM for organizations in Canada. I did that for a while, but I started realizing that Salesforce was really huge in North America. And I joined PwC as a Salesforce consultant, taught myself how to, administer, Salesforce, took a few classes, and got into the Salesforce space. Currently, I work at Hootsuite. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Hootsuite, but Hootsuite is a social media management platform. And at Hootsuite, I am a solution architect. I lead a solution architecture team there that's responsible for integrations, custom applications, bringing different systems to talk to one another. So a lot of organizations, as you can imagine, are using social media to interact with their customers. So they're using social media for sales, social media for marketing, social media for even customer care. So right now, there's some companies where you could raise tickets through Facebook, to Twitter, to Instagram, and stuff like that. In fact, Afara is one of those organizations. We believe in social. We believe that wherever people prefer to interact with you, you should be there interacting with them. And a lot of organizations do that, and which is why I spend a lot of my time helping companies all over the world in different regions, helping them bring social capabilities into their own systems. So that's the job that I do right now, designing those type of solutions, designing custom applications and stuff like that. So that's a little bit about me. In terms of my interests, I'm really, really passionate about customer relationship management, customer experience, passionate about tech. I see myself as a bit of an evangelist, really can talk all day about tech. I'm passionate about integrations and business automation, generally speaking, making sure that you turn manual processes into automated processes. That's something that I'm quite passionate about. And I strongly believe that all the lessons and all the experiences I've gained over the years can be quite beneficial to people who are looking to either transition or grow their careers in tech, and which is why I do a bit of mentorship, facilitate classes, sharing my experiences, sharing my learnings. And of course, I am still learning as well. Learning is a life journey, but making sure that people don't go through the same mistakes that I made, and making sure that they also have the opportunity to launch into the career, because there are a lot of opportunities, as we'll be discussing very soon. In my spare time, I love football, so I wouldn't talk too much about that. But yeah, that's something that I really like as well. So to start with, the very big thing you have to realize is that customer is king and queen. Now, what does that mean? It means that you cannot succeed, you cannot be successful in any business if you are not thinking about your customers, if you are not providing your products and your services directly to your customers, if you're not acquiring new customers, if you're not retaining existing customers, if you're not providing exceptional service for your customers, you're not going to be successful. It's as easy as that. There is no two ways about it. You absolutely need to take care of your customers, acquire them. And to do that, you need to manage their information. You need to understand them. You need to know who they are, what they want, before you can actually delight them. And the biggest companies in the world, the Facebook, Google, Amazon, all these huge, humongous companies are companies that are obsessed about customers. And you hear people talk about customer centricity, or I am a customer centric organization. And really what they're talking about is that they think customer first. They build processes around what works for the customer, what the customer really wants. So when you're using Facebook, they're thinking about how easy it is to use, how delighted you are using those functionality, or Instagram, or any of these tools. So you have sections of people who focus on doing that. All they're trying to figure out is, what is the best way we can attract people onto our product, service, or platform, or whatever it is you might be selling? How can we retain them there to make sure that we continue to provide added value to them? And to do that, you really, really, really need to be intentional about it, and which is why customer management is really, really important. And it opens up a lot of opportunities because people have to invest quite a lot in systems that allow them to manage that. Which brings us to customer relationship management. So customer relationship management that you can see on my screen, the technology for managing all of your customer relationships, is really about how can I capture every single interaction I'm having with my customer? How can I capture it in a way that allows me to streamline the way I engage with my customer? right? So my customer has called me on the phone, they've sent me an SMS, they have reached out to me via social, they have bought something from me, they called me up because they had a problem with what they bought from me, or they want a consultation. Whatever it might be that you're doing with your customer, you want to make sure you're capturing it in one place so you have a very clean history of exactly what you're doing with your customers, so you can relate to them better. You can, understand where you can improve as well, and how you can provide better service or better products moving forward. So if you don't have that information stored in a proper place, you're going to be in trouble. Some organizations store it in Excel or write it in paper or whatever it is. But when you do that, it becomes so difficult for you to get insights. It becomes so difficult for you to learn about exactly who your customer is, and you find yourself scrambling around. And I see this, as a consultant, as a CRM consultant myself. I've seen it in the past. Organizations who have no clear organization of their customer data, they tend to struggle. Most organizations might go under, actually, if they are unable to maintain a clear understanding of what their customers are doing, because you might invest in the wrong product, invest in the wrong service. You might not even know exactly what type of service or what your customers really want. So the best organizations are the organizations that really invest in maintaining and managing these interactions in a streamlined way. And to do that, you need a CRM system. And that's where CRM systems come into play. That is what customer relationship management is really all about. Now, I would say that customer relationship management is not just about the technology, it's also about the processes, the business processes that are associated with what you're doing with your customers. It's also about the people who do it. So your sales organization, your customer care organization, your financial people, every single person is involved in providing a decent product or service for the customer. So they are all involved in that customer relationship management workflow or process. And so you can see some examples of customer relationship management. You have orders, analysis, you have marketing. Marketing is a big one. Now, most times you hear about digital marketing, and it's always almost about how you acquire new customers. How can you have that brand awareness? How can you, talk to people about what you're doing? How can you publicize it? Those sort of things are really, what marketing focuses on. But it doesn't stop there. So you acquire the customer, then what next, right? What do you do next? So what happened with the sales? Okay, yes, you've sold to the customer. Then what happens with support, right? What happens with providing them with after sales support? All of those things are all part of customer relationship management, and the different areas that you could really start to think about. Okay, so we know what CRM means. We understand the importance of having customer relationship management systems. So who is providing these systems? So you have several organizations. There are hundreds and hundreds of organizations that provide CRM technology for companies to use, but the top ones are these: Salesforce, HubSpot, SAP, Microsoft, Oracle, all provide amazing CRM systems. And the question is, which one should you be learning? Okay, I want to get into CRM, but what should I be learning? What is the one that you should really focus your time on, and why? And we'll get into that in a second. So the very first reason why I think the one you should be focusing on is a Salesforce is because they are number one. Undisputed, there's no argument about it. In fact, I was talking to someone and they said this particular statistic, this particular graph is almost like an anomaly if you think about it. But yeah, and that's simply because they dominate the market share. And by market share, I mean number of people who have actually installed or implemented Salesforce, number of people who are using it, number of companies that are using it. So they're number one. 20%, almost 20% of all CRM implementations are Salesforce implementation. So the biggest companies, in fact, all the companies I've worked for, except Oracle, actually use Salesforce as their CRM. So, PwC, Hootsuite, Eclipses, all of them were using, and then you think about the largest organizations out there. You think about Google and those type of organizations. They're all using Salesforce to manage their customers. It is a very, very significant investment for any organization. In sometimes it can run into millions of dollars of investment that is required for you to set up your Salesforce, especially for the more sophisticated customers or more sophisticated organizations, I should say. So it's very, very important that you pick the one that there will be high demand in. So if most people are implementing Salesforce, that is where the job opportunities are going to be. That is where the organizations would need more people who understand how Salesforce works. And that is where you can find those opportunities as well. So what else? Now, the biggest one for me personally, being someone who has worked on several CRM systems, the biggest thing that I find to be very, very beneficial about Salesforce is the fact that it's so easy to learn. You don't have to be a developer, you don't have to know IT, or you don't have to be this whiz kid or guru. As long as you understand simply how organizations work and how they interact with their customers, and you know how to just use a computer, you can learn Salesforce. And the reason why it's very easy to learn Salesforce as well is because they provide their practice environments for free. So you can access these practice environments quickly and start learning them very, very quickly. They don't, put a, credit card or, money or whatever. They don't even do trials. People do like 30-day trials, but of course you can't learn the entire thing in Salesforce in a CRM in 30 days. But these guys provide you with a free platform that you can spin up as many as you want to learn the stuff. In fact, in some of the classes that we do for Salesforce, we have students who set up about 15, 20 different Salesforce instances to try different things out. So it makes it very, very easy for you to learn. The other big thing is the training resources. They provide a ton of material for you to learn. They provide trailheads, guides. The community is quite helpful, so you will always find resources that allows you to learn the tool as well. And finally, they have a clearly defined certification path. So whether you're going on the admin path, business analyst, consultant, architect, whatever it is, there's a clearly defined certification path. So you're not confused about what you should be doing, what certifications you should be taking, and things like that. They're clearly defined, and the industry respects them as well, which makes it very, very easy to follow along. Now, the big thing about Salesforce, one of the really, really big thing about Salesforce is the fact that there are multiple roles that can be opened up if you're using Salesforce, if you become a Salesforce expert, sorry. So you could become a Salesforce business analyst. So as a business analyst, your responsibility would be to understand the business processes of an organization, understand what they're trying to solve for, if they have any pain points, if they have any issues, if they have a dream or a vision of how they want to design their customer management platform or even other tools. I mean, like I said, Salesforce is not just a CRM system, it's also a platform for you to build other systems. In fact, people build things like HR systems, supply chain, they build their applicant tracking system, they build education management system, they build different things on Salesforce. It's a platform, so you can build just about anything you can think about in terms of managing business processes and workflows. So they provide a platform beyond just the CRM offering that they give. They also provide a platform for you to easily also build different types of applications on top of that. So as a business analyst, that will be your job. Understand what the problem is, understand what they're trying to build, and translate that into requirements that someone can pick up and build upon. So it's really, really powerful what you can do with Salesforce in that way. As an admin, your job really is to maintain the already implemented Salesforce. So like I said, a lot of thousands and thousands of organizations, in fact, millions of organizations have Salesforce running as their CRM system. So you need people who can manage those CRM systems. So people who will create new users, help users who need help troubleshooting things, create reports, build workflows, do a lot of really interesting things to keep a CRM instance going. Some organizations have very, very large instances of Salesforce. So Google, for instance, employs hundreds of people who actually maintain their Salesforce instance, and that's how huge it is for them. So you could have administrators, several administrators working in one organization as well. The Salesforce developer is more for someone who's trying to build things that are really, really customized. So you have the ability to use point and click tools, of course, in Salesforce, but you also have the ability to use code. So if you're looking for opportunities to develop stuff using coding and stuff like that, there is a Salesforce developer track for people who want to go in that line. You also have the Salesforce architect, and the architect really brings everything together. So you might have Salesforce, you might have a financial system outside, you might have an ERP system, you might have an order management system somewhere. You could have several different applications. How do you design it to all talk to one another? How do you integrate them together as an integrated solution? That is what the architect does. The architect is the one who really brings it together, just like your typical architect who brings your house together in a structure, in a design. That's what a Salesforce architect does with regards to different workflows, different processes, making sure that it's properly designed, it's optimized in a way that works for the organization. Finally, you have the Salesforce business user. So that could be someone who's working as a sales executive. You could be working as a customer success manager. You could be working as a solution consultant, but you deal with sales. You need to use Salesforce, right, to manage your customers and things like that. It could be also someone in the call center who's using Salesforce as a customer care tool, or other people who are just doing other things that require them to use Salesforce on a day-to-day. So there's several opportunities. In fact, I've worked on a project where we were helping a school with their career counseling, and they were using Salesforce. The career counselors were using Salesforce to manage the interactions between those counselors and the students that they were trying to help get jobs. And they were using Salesforce to manage it. So it's not just the sales people, it's not just the customer care people. It could just be about anybody, because like I said, it's a platform that can be designed to work on, to solve different business problems. Now, the other big thing, the other real reason why you should be excited about joining Salesforce and the Salesforce ecosystem, or actually becoming a Salesforce expert, is the variety of industries you can really work in. So you can work in consulting and implementation. So like myself, I did work at PwC as an implementation consultant. You could work in those kind of firms. There are firms like PwC, Deloitte, Accenture, KPMG, who really do this thing very, very big. In fact, they're beginning to do more of these type of work than the typical traditional consulting that they used to do in the past. So they are becoming the biggest organizations to hire Salesforce consultants. A lot of, I think that if you look at PwC, for instance, they have maybe 200, 300, only in Canada, they have almost 200 people who actually do Salesforce in a practice. And if you check all over the world, it's that number. So you have thousands of people working in the CRM practice in a place like PwC globally. And you have those opportunities also in places like Accenture, Deloitte, that have massive Salesforce practices where they hire consultants, they hire architects, they hire developers, they even hire subject matter experts. Now, this is something that is very, very important. When you're thinking about how you can transition, you're thinking, oh, I'm in this particular domain, would I easily transition into tech? Be mindful of the fact that tech is nothing without the business processes you're trying to solve for. Technology just automates those processes, but those processes are very, very key. So someone who has domain expertise in a particular area, so you could be an accountant, you could be in oil and gas, you could be a supply chain expert, you could be in HR, wherever it is that you might be, your domain expertise is always required when people are going through a digital transformation project or when they're trying to bring automation to solve those problems. As an example, I was working on a project with the government of Canada, and we needed to bring in policy experts in the particular domain that we're working on to actually help us interpret those policies. So you could be a public servant, you understand policy very, very well. And to make yourself a consultant, basically, you could say, okay, if I understand how to translate these policies into automated workflows, then you have an opportunity. So I want you guys to realize that there is an opportunity there. If you are already in a particular domain and you're thinking about how you can transition to tech, always remember that your domain expertise is a very, very, very powerful tool that you have in your toolkit, because you can always combine that with tech to become what I call a techno-functional expert. When you're a techno-functional expert, it means that you can speak both languages. You can speak the language of the business, you can speak the language of tech, and you become that translator. And those people are really, really key. I see myself as that also in most of the projects that I work on. I'm not typically just thinking about the tech, I'm also thinking about the business processes that we're trying to solve for, because that's really the big thing there. And it's not just business processes, also managing people and stuff like that. So really, really important that you note that you could be working as a domain expert in some of these areas. Companies, I just spoke about, Google as an example, hiring hundreds of Salesforce admins. Currently, even at Hootsuite, for instance, one of our admins is actually a Nigerian lady. She was doing Salesforce admin work in Nigeria. She moved to Canada. Now she's our own Salesforce admin. So you can imagine that kind of thing. Like, so there's a lot of those type of opportunities. So in organizations, and I was talking to her the other day, and she was saying that there's so many admin opportunities, and for a lot of organizations. So a lot of organizations hire not just admins, actually, they also hire architects, they hire developers, they hire different types of people. So, there is that opportunity, because if you've invested millions of dollars in your Salesforce instance, you want to hire people to maintain it. You want to hire people to make sure it's operating at the level that you expect it to operate on. The other people who aggressively hire Salesforce experts are digital marketing agencies. Digital marketing agencies are people who help organizations to run their digital marketing. But typically, when you're running your digital marketing, because you're always interacting with CRMs are known as the system of record or the single source of truth. These are things you will hear in the industry when people talk about CRM, is a single source of truth. And what does that mean? It means that any data, any piece of customer information that is not in your CRM does not exist, right? It's so when you're working with your marketing tool and you acquire a customer, you're pushing it into CRM, right? So digital marketing agencies have Salesforce practices, right, that actually help to implement Salesforce or maintain Salesforce for organizations. So they're another set of people who actually hires Salesforce experts. Then you have the Salesforce themselves. They hire. They're a very, very big team, right? A big organization across the world, different regions. They hire people. And then the partners. Now, this is really the key thing here with partners. The reason why the partners are really, really aggressively, the Salesforce partners aggressively hire Salesforce people is because Salesforce is a single source of truth and the system of record for most of your business operations. What typically tends to happen is that most applications want to be able to integrate to Salesforce. In fact, Salesforce has the biggest app store for business applications in the world. Like if you go to their app store, it's called App Exchange. It has hundreds and hundreds of applications that actually integrate into them. Name it, no matter what you think about, if it's a financial application, a productivity tool, whatever you can really think about, it integrates into Salesforce. So as an organization, if you might be building an application and you will need to be able to integrate with Salesforce. As an architect at Hootsuite, I do a lot of that. I do a lot of talking to customers about integrating Salesforce with Hootsuite. And it is the majority of conversations I'm having with my customers is how do we integrate these two systems together? So it becomes really, really critical that those organizations hire people who understand Salesforce to make sure that they're integrating properly with Salesforce as well. So that is why there's a lot of opportunities as a result. Now, the one thing that you might be excited about or want to learn is how much money can I make from this stuff? Okay, so a Salesforce administrator base salary in Canada, for instance, is 63,000. That's the average. You can make way above 90K as well. This is, by the way, this is from PayScale. So if you ever want to check it out, you can go to payscale.com, I believe, and you can check, different salaries in tech, so you can have an idea. And when you look at the total pay, you can be making even six figures as an administrator when you combine the bonuses and things like that. A consultant base average pays 81K, which is insane, right? 81K, and you're not coding, you're just basically a business analyst here. You figure out how to understand requirements, and you figure out how to translate them, in the Salesforce domain, they make up to 81,000 on the average, and you can make well over 100K, 115K if you are getting the total pay calculated. Architects make 100K average, 100K and above. So when you get to that level of architect, you'll make six figures easily. So as a Salesforce architect, you'll be able to, gain, be able to get a lot of juicy offers when it comes to the amount that you can make. So that's one that is really, really lucrative. I know a lot of architects are making quite a lot of money. So how can you transition? What are the things that you need to do? Now, typically, I don't like to tell people that they need to get certified. I genuinely think that certifications are, you can get certifications if you want, to be honest with you. I can tell you, I have over 10 certifications myself, so I can explain how it works. There are guides to it. There are ways you can, study for 2 certifications in one. There are ways to prepare very, very quickly and stuff like that. So I don't rate certifications that much. I really believe more in what you can do, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But the truth of the matter is that if you're getting into Salesforce, if you're getting into CRM, you need to be certified. You need your certifications. You need to work on them. You need to really, really get your certifications. You need to get specific certifications depending on what role you're going for. So if you're going for the developer role, there are certifications for it. If you're going for admin role, there are certifications for it. And then other different areas of expertise. So there are different certifications. They have more than 20, 30, 40, about 20, between 20, 30 certifications. And you can reach out to us at Afara.io, and I can tell you all about them and explain, what each part means as well. The second thing that is really, really important is hands-on knowledge. Why is it important? Now, the typical hiring flow for a Salesforce job goes like this. I've been through a lot myself. Some of them have been successful, at least. The PwC one was successful. Some of them have not been really successful, to be honest. But what I've learned is that it really follows one particular path. The very first thing is that you want to get through the ATS. How do you get through the ATS? Of course, the certification I talked about. The applicant tracking system is going to be checking if you have specific skills. The second one is that you do a recruiter interview, and you might wow the recruiter, which is fine. It's not typically a technical interview. It's just, sort of trying to get to know if you're a good fit and all of that stuff, getting your experience and all of that. Now, you go to the hiring manager interview, where it's the person who's actually hiring for the role, and then they grill you a little bit. Now, the third stage is usually a practical. You have to do that practical work. They can give you some work that they want you to do. In some cases, they will be there live with you and tell you, yeah, you need to configure this, that. They'll give you a problem statement, and they tell you to go configure it. So without hands-on knowledge, you will never pass that stage. And that is where people typically fall off when they're trying to get these jobs. So understanding, having that hands-on experience, having that hands-on learning or hands-on knowledge of this is important. Now, I'm not saying you have to have gone to implement Salesforce or anything like that. I had not done a Salesforce implementation before I became a Salesforce consultant, but I understood how it worked. I already did some practice, so I was comfortable doing the practice assignment when the time came. So it's very, very important. The other thing is that you need to build up your profile as such. You need to build up your profile to attract the community of Salesforce professionals or recruiters, organizations looking for people like that. So what are you blogging about? Right? What are you saying on your LinkedIn? What type of skills are you talking about on your LinkedIn? And how does your LinkedIn profile read? Those things are really, really critical if you're going to be joining the Salesforce space. So building up a really good profile on LinkedIn, your certifications, having, following the right people, following the right communities, contributing back to the community, doing a lot of those sort of things would make you build the right type of profile you need to get into the space. Now, how can you do it? How can we do it for you at Afara? So at Afara, we have one simple mantra: learn by doing. You need to get your hands into stuff and start doing them. It's so easy to do. I've had classes where teachers, people from different walks of life, people who had no idea of IT at all, no background, no prior background, now they're working in organizations where, they're doing Salesforce implementation. They're rising in their ranks. They're getting certified and things like that. So I've helped a lot of people through that. And Afara as a whole, that is what we're all about, is really helping you to get that job, helping you to make sure that you're prepared for it. And how we do it is, one, we believe in project-based learning. You can learn a lot of things theoretically from the different areas, and we encourage you to do that. But what we do is that we identify a project at the beginning of our class, and we will do that project together. So we want you to build your project portfolio, and we want you to start with us first. So we build that first project, which gives you a good overview, a good framework of how to run these projects or how to practice projects. And then we give you, the leeway to go and think about other projects and continue to build on it and support you through that journey, right? We help with career coaching. So I don't know where to start. I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. Where do I start? What's the first thing to do? What's the second thing? All of those sort of things. Okay. We want to simplify those things. So we have a career coaching plan where we can help you plan out your career. Of course, we want to keep ourselves accountable, right? So it's not just about us and what we tell you. We want to make sure that you're doing those things as well, right? Because it's all about, at the end of the day, it's all about you. Most people that we've supported, at the end of the day, we tell them, look, it's about the effort that you put in. That is why you made it. It's not because of anybody, really. It's about you. But what you really need is guidance. You need coaching. You need the right type of information. There's a lot of uninformed opinions out there that might lead you down the wrong path. So you want to make sure that you're hearing from people who are in the industry that are doing these things. We bring people who are actually doing the work to share their experiences with you, to share what they know and stuff like that. Those are the things that would help you to continue to grow. Of course, we help with job search support. So where should you be looking for jobs? Where are the jobs? So recently, Standard Bank was implementing Salesforce. They were looking for people. Did you know about it? Did you apply? Did you know that there were such opportunities? There are remote work opportunities as well. You could be a remote Salesforce developer or a remote Salesforce consultant. Did you know that those were things that you could actually do? And how do you actually find those opportunities? So after you get the skill, after you're ready to go, you have a great profile, you have good hands-on knowledge, we help you to actually go through that process of finding the right job and preparing you for it. So whether it is mock interviews, helping you with your story and how you present yourself to recruiters and things like that, those are things that we can help you do at Afara as well. And finally, we want to help you with the certification prep. Like I said, you need to pass your certifications. You need your certifications for you to be successful in this space. So we help you with that process. We help you optimize how you do it. So how can you get a certification in 3 weeks or 4 weeks? What are the things that you could do to do it? And we share some of the ways that we've done it and, try to help you also attain that as well. And so that's it, really, how Afara can help you. I would like you guys to reach out to us right now. So on Instagram, it's afara.io. Reach out to us immediately. Let's discuss how we can help you make this happen. You can also reach out to us on WhatsApp. So it's 343-571-0581. That's our phone number, as well as our WhatsApp number. So you can reach out to us there. We did provide the different channels, so it's easy for you to reach out to us. Also, you see our link on LinkedIn, as well as on email if you're an email person. info@afara.io, and we'll get back to you as quickly as possible. You can also go to our website, it's afara.io, where we talk about all of these things. You see all the different projects that we have. We have an upcoming Salesforce class, which will be coming up in a few weeks' time, I think on the 24th of April. So you can register for that if you are interested. The details are on our website. But reach out to us. Reach out to us. Let's talk about it. Let's make sure that you are getting the support that you need to start your journey into Salesforce. And I can guarantee that it is quite rewarding when you put in the work and go on that path. I'm talking from experience because it has really helped me throughout my career learning Salesforce. And even if you're not going to be an expert from the perspective of being a Salesforce consultant or stuff like that, you could really gain a lot from just knowing how Salesforce works, because that would help you in other things that you're doing as well. So reach out to us with the information on the screen. Like I said, Instagram, afara.io, website, afara.io, or you can send us an email, info@afara.io. It's been wonderful talking to you guys, and I hope to catch you guys soon. Thank you.